I think I will do the player ranking. We'll do this one batch here. Fuck me. There's 76 people in this one. Is this the long? Dude, this is the longest one. Okay, maybe this is a bad decision, but whatever. We'll still do it. Yeah. All right. Wait. Let me see chat wise. Chat's kind of blocking it now. That's kind of annoying. I don't really want to zoom out though. I mean, I guess like for this one, it's fine. Just do this for now. Next time we need to figure out what to do. But either way, Wendell we'll just keep at the top. Ben Driebergen, I think I'm willing to keep here. With like these other winners, like obviously very flawed player, but like he did make it deep twice for what that's worth. Dom, is probably here with the other like non-winners. Like some of the other better non-winners. I'm actually debating, like, is Dom this high or is he around here? I think based on precedent, I have him around here. Because I believe I did have like Rob C, Fair Play, Fishbat, like that sort of grouping above Dom. Because like wasn't Dom? Yeah, Dom was like 9. Yeah, so like he was like right below. I guess he's like kind of in between though. I'll put Dom here. Why not? Obviously, I think Dom's pretty good. Aubrey Bracco. Obviously, this is as of right now. Oh yeah, I forgot we should talk about the boots, but we'll do that in a second, I guess. Yeah, Aubrey. I think I'll leave her here. Like it's consistent with this list, where like the better like non-winners. It's like I think that's fine. Again, well, it's just gonna change next stream anyway, so it's like we'll talk about it. But yeah, all right. Talk about the 50 boots. Suri stays the same. Nothing changes there. And then we got Devins, who is gonna move up. Devins is here. Is that blocked by chat? I think it is. That's great. I guess move here. Yeah, I have Devins there. I think I'm moving him up to light blue. I think he's a bit too sloppy, probably to have as dark blue. I had Christian light blue, right? Yeah. So I think Devins is light blue. I'm not sure how high I should go on Devins. I think ultimately, I think he's above Christian. I'm debating if he should be like this high, but I feel like that's probably too high considering I feel like Devins ultimately ends up being the same both times. And like he's made it towards the end twice. But like he ultimately like struggles getting to the very end without like needing immunities or winning out or needing immunities or finding idols, that sort of stuff. And as we saw this time, he couldn't do that. So yeah, I think I probably will just settle with here, but yeah, we'll talk about it more next stream when we actually get to it. Okay. Michelle Fitzgerald is next, which is interesting because I think my gut would actually be to have her higher than these, but I don't know. Like, I feel like Michelle. It's tough because like Michelle actually isn't that good. Like Michelle, genuinely, like if you look at her 2 games on their own, they're both like not particularly great, but she still is like someone that made it to the end both times she played. And she is a winner. It's like having her that much lower than like a Ben Driebergen. Is that really fair? I don't know. Because I think tier wise, based on how everything's laid out, I think the intention was to put her here. But I don't think that's really. I think she's probably with like Denise and Cochran. Which to be fair was a tier that was here that I moved up. So I think Michelle probably is the same. Like I think Michelle, I move up into this tier, even though this is like kind of supposed to be separated. I don't know if Denise has a far better win. I mean, I guess it is, but like, it's like I don't think Denise and Michelle are that far apart player wise to me. And like Cochran, I think is more high variance as a player, but does have obviously a much better win. Um, yeah, it's like I think that's probably something I'll debate again probably when we get to it. We're like, yeah, like the Denise Cochran, Michelle could definitely be below because that's where they were initially, and I end up moving them above. Um, but I think for now, especially considering we have 70 something people to go through, it's already kind of late. I think we'll deal with that later. Um, Adam Klein, I think, is fine. Lower here, probably like, I don't know, here. Like Aris, Jenna, Amber level, or Vecepia, Danny, Natalie level. My gut is like Aris level. I don't think that's where I intended to put him though. Initially. Same as Ben. I don't think so. I think Ben's better than Adam. I think Adam's just very sloppy. Like I think Adam's just very like he's to me he's very high variance. I think Adam's the type of player that I could definitely see being like first boot like more times than not. Like he played a solid game on Legend X. Um, actually, I think he's here. I think he's probably hatch level actually. I think that's where I had him on the player ranking. The winner player ranking, wherever that is, it's somewhere in here. This one? No, that's not it. Where's the winner player ranking? One of these lists. Not that one. This one? Yeah, I think it's this one. Yeah, I had him like a couple spots above Hatch. I think that's fair. But then again, I did have him actually. Wait, no, I had him below Vecepia? Yeah, I had him below Vecepia Danny. Yeah, I think that's fair then. I think putting him here is fair. I kind of do want to just move this group down now, though. Like, it's probably like. I don't know, though. I don't know. It is a tough grouping. And well, we'll deal with it later. Tai Trang. Genuinely, Tai. I'm debating between putting Tai higher, like putting him with like the Colby, Kathy, Lex, Ozzy, Russell like sort of tier, or is he like where would he be? He probably just would be here like Adam, right? With like Hatch and Coach in them. Um like Tai is someone that like is a fairly consistent player. I think he struggles to win. Um like is an issue. But then again, he could theoretically win game changers. Um mm, I kind of feel like my gut's putting him here. And I feel like David Wright is also here. But it's also now kind of feels like, is Adam too low? Like maybe Adam should be higher. Is Adam being this much lower than them? Um, hmm. He's like, is Adam really that much worse than David Wright? Okay, I think I'm gonna move at least Adam here. Uh, at bare minimum. And yeah, I feel like Michelle feels too high at this point, right? So maybe I do just make that separate tier and then put Adam there. Like just put Adam with like maybe put Adam with this grouping, but then like separate uh people in this tier. I don't know what the right separation is. Like Mike, Tom, Chris, Ethan, Tina, probably together. And then I'm not sure what to do with Heidick. Yeah, it's like this grouping would be below, like it would be here. But I think the problem with that is that it feels like should these two groups be that far apart? So at that point, it's like, am I saying that like, do I think Colby, Kathy, Lex, those sort of players are better than like Denise and Cochran, which I don't. Uh, hmm. Maybe I do. Hmm. Do I? Ben's a weird player too. These suspicion spoilers might be correct. Maybe. Um, yeah, like I feel like Brian feels kind of separate from these. Okay, let's do this. Let's create room for a new tier. So I think I'm at bare minimum doing that. Yeah, so I think I'll separate. Like I think Ethan, Tina, Tom. Is Chris in that? Maybe Chris is in that. Mike Holloway. Maybe Denise is in that. I don't know. Like maybe Heidick. And then like Michelle. That doesn't feel right though. Because like. Yeah, maybe Mike is down. Because generally it's like Mike versus Ben. I think Mike's winning game is better than Ben's, but Ben has played twice and has made it deep both times. It's like Ben is probably like ends up better than Mike. Is this too high for Cochran at this point though? But then in this spot, maybe Michelle should be. Is Michelle that high though? Is the issue? Okay, like because like the problem now is that how much credit do I give Michelle for playing twice and making it to the end twice? Is like kind of my overall like issue here because it's like on paper I feel like Michelle should be lower, but she's just like such a like consistent player, even though like her games are kind of bad. Um, yeah, it's like I think it's like I don't think her and Tina are that far apart. Um, hmm. Like I feel like she's at least better than this tier. Like she's essentially like a this style of player that like made it to the end twice. So like she's at least in like this ballpark. Um, mm, should I go? Should I just go back to what I was doing and like create a tier of winners in between these two? But the problem is like again, like it just feels weird to have a grouping there. Um. Because like my gut kind of tells me Michelle's like around here, and like Adam's probably there too. Maybe Cochran. Maybe not. I don't know, but maybe like Heidick's there. Um, hmm. I don't know. This doesn't feel. I don't know. Like none of this really feels right. Is the thing. Heist game's good enough to be above. Yeah, that's the thing that's also there. Is that because like ultimately like Sesternino and Fair Play like yeah, they're 2-time players, but they're really only 1-time players. It's like, it's tough to really give them that much credit for their other appearance. It's like maybe this is a world where like Fair Play and Rob should be lower. But like Fishback, Malcolm, maybe these are like higher. Okay, I think maybe do this. I think probably put David Wright with Sesternino and Fair Play, even though like that's actually not even that fair, really, because like he actually is kind of more comparable to these. Um, and then where did I have Mike Holloway on the winner player ranking? He was like kind of high. Because I think by this, Cochran probably should be there. I think probably Mike is with Chris and Heidick, probably. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know what to do with this. It was a worse game of Robin Fairplay. Yeah, probably. But he also has a better second appearance, though. Um, oh, we haven't talked about that. The fact that Natalie beat Tony on the fan poll, that was insane. Yeah, that was just insane. I think these three being together, like Mike Holloway, Chris, and Brian, feels fine. Then I don't know. I really don't know if Cochran, because like Cochran's like one of these players that like gut wise, I feel like he's inconsistent, but like we don't really see that. Like the reality is that Cochran like had a bad first appearance, but still made it deep. Like he had so many opportunities to be an early boot in that season and wasn't. And then like second time around, he just dominates that season. So it's like, is Cochran really that different from like a Tina Wesson? Like I feel like Michelle. I just don't know what to add of Klein either. Generally, Adam Klein and David probably back to back kind of makes sense, actually. Maybe he's just there. Maybe like Adam is just with like Rob C and Fair Play and like David Wright. Is Malcolm really better than Cochran feels? Yeah, that was also a thing. It's like I feel like Cochran's probably better than Malcolm in the grand scheme of things. Michelle should be with Adam. I don't know. I think it's like again, Michelle just makes it so much deeper and was less like of a social pariah than Adam. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep it like this. I think I'm settling on this. For now, and then I'll probably change it a billion times again. I think Tina feels weird in all this. I think it's kind of a well. I mean, actually no, Michelle is there up there, so I guess Tina's fine there. I think Tina and Michelle being together is like fine. And like I think Tina and Cochran really together is also like fine. She doesn't show much strategic game on either of her seasons. I mean, like, I think she probably shows as much strategic game as like Tina does. Um, Devin Pinto. Uh, Devin Pinto is generally he's probably his own separate tier. The question is, where is that tier? I kind of actually is Dom too high in retrospect? I think Dom should probably actually be with this grouping. Like Dom should probably be with like Sesternino and Fair Play. I kind of feel like I switch these. Maybe leave it like that. Anyway. Devin should be like Dom. I could see it going both ways. I think it's like with Dom. I actually feel like there's aspects of Dom that's worse, which is like funnier. But like obviously Dom like almost won the game against like very tough competition, at least in terms of like him versus Wendell. Was trying to play optimally in that end game and just like wasn't given the runway to do so. I think the start of his game's pretty bad. So that's the thing. In comparison to Devin, yeah, I think that's the thing with Devin. Like Devin is like pretty passive. Like he's kind of just like he kind of just like coasts throughout a lot of the game, but he also was like so well positioned throughout a lot of the game. Like was never really in danger. Theoretically should have won the game. I think the fact that it's not even like a definitive like Devin definitely wins if he gets to the end is kind of an issue to me. I think I can kind of put him. I think in retrospect. Okay, I think this is what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna put Dom here, for one. I think this should be a grouping of players that have like one good game. I think the people above are people that like have one good game, like at least like one like pretty like people that have like one good game and another game that's like a pretty deep run. Into fair, David Wright's probably should fit into that. Or like I feel like these are players that had like one good game and then like if they did come back, it was just kind of like a whatever appearance. So like I think it's like people like Sesternino and Fairplay that have like one really good game and then come back and then don't have the greatest run, or like Dominic who have like one like really elite game. And then I don't know what the fuck these people are. Like it really David Wright should probably be here, but it doesn't really feel right. Actually, should I put David Wright here with like Tai Trang? Maybe. But I don't know. But like part of me is like David Wright is even now. Yeah, okay. I think I'll put David Wright here because I still think he might be better than Sesternino in Fair Play by the end. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna put Dom. I think I moved Dom down a tier, and then I think Devin might be in that tier. With these people, like Sesternino, Fair Play, Dom, Adam, David Wright. I think my gut is bottom of this though. Like I think Devin being above these players feels like fine to me. Like maybe I should just put David Wright higher. I think it's like it probably just is a thing where like I think I probably should just put David Wright higher because like he does fit in these sort of players in terms of like career. Like really, it's like David Wright versus Fishback. It's like, is it really that big of a difference? It's like Fishback probably has a better like Tokuji's game, but it's like overall, like in terms of game building, it's fairly similar. Um, hmm. I kind of want to do this, actually. I kind of want to put Adam here. Actually, I don't know. Is okay, Adam versus Sesternino. I think that's something I have to piece together. Like, is Adam above or below Sesternino in fair play? Because he might be higher. I don't know. Like, he obviously he's a winner in comparison to two, but like even outside that, he definitely has a more turbulent. I mean, I guess 2 for fair plays game's pretty fucked. Like, I think it's fairly close. But maybe I do go here. Maybe I put Adam in the same tier, but just like at the bottom of that tier. Keep Tai Trang here. And yeah, okay, I think that's fine for now. And then I'll probably still change it a billion other fucking times. Yeah, that's fair. Fair play got benefited by Outcasts. Thank you. But I think at worst he's like here. Sydney Gillen. I think Sydney is somewhere in this range. I want to see, where did I have Sydney on any of these lists? That's what 4th placer ranking. Is that the only time I ever? Did I not have her in a? Okay, I guess I didn't even have her in a top 10, like non-winning one-time player thing. Interesting. Why was Joe at 50% on Cauchy? I mean, we know Joe made it to the end, right? But no. Yeah, I can kind of see her just anywhere in like this. Like, I can definitely see like Carolyn Rodney comparisons. Especially if she was meant to. Actually, she wasn't even really meant to be at the end, right? Because it was going to be Joe, Tai, and Aubrey. But even then, she got to the end. It does seem like it would have been tough to see her win. I do think she plays a pretty fluid game. Does go to a lot of tribals. It's kind of running like in the dominant alliance more than like Carolyn probably is. I kind of feel like she's either here with like Hayden, or she's like here with like Carolyn and Rodney. I think win equity is definitely something that makes me want to like lower her a bit, especially like win equity, and then also the fact that like she was even meant to be at the end anyway. I think it's making me want to settle here. But then again, I have Chrissy here, and I feel like Chrissy, like I have Chrissy, like I think Chrissy's probably here. Yeah, with like Sierra Easton, Amy Cusick, these sort of players. So I don't know. Is that spot where like maybe she should be here? But no, I think I'm gonna have Sydney there. I think I feel fine about that. Below Yaman feels wrong. I don't. I think it's around. Like I think it's actually like somewhat comparable. Like Yao-Man at least, like Yao-Man's essentially a Sydney that wins if he gets to the end. Well, if he gets to the end against someone other than Earl. But like Yao-Man was like loved by his cast, would have won against almost anybody. Sydney can't really win. Like it's tough to even see a Final Three where she does win. 50 was 12 old era versus new era tribes. Obviously it depends on the tribes. Like it depends on who's in them. Oh, is Shindong gonna be on Devil's Plan? That's cool. I didn't even know Devil's Plan cast was leaked or whatever. Yeah. Ryan Ulrich. I think he's just here probably with like Carolyn Rivera and Rodney likely. Or could he be his own new tier maybe? I guess we'll probably move these people down. Oh, we're talking about like 50s cast in particular? And probably, yeah, like New Era just dominates, right? Like they have like Jonathan, like Tiffany, Charlie's no slouch, D, Q, uh, Joe, Kyle. It's like, yeah, that tribe just dominates. Um, yeah, Ryan Ulrich. Uh, yeah, I think he's likely here. I think that's fine. I think the beginning of his game is like debatably better than Sydney's, but the end of his game is definitely worse. Actually, I don't know. Maybe at least he's less active towards the end. I think in Sydney also wasn't either actually, but I don't know. Whatever. I'll leave it like this. I think that's fine. Hannah Shapiro. Um. I could see comparisons. I think it's a debate of like how much credit do we give her for her positioning. I could see a world where she's like Lisa Welchel sort of level. Um, but otherwise, I think she's probably also in like this kind of grouping here. I think I intended on putting her here. I don't know if that's actually what I want to do. Notice how high Missy is. Is this that high? I don't even feel like this is that high. uh, I think Missy's a much more independent player than Becky. Like Missy is someone that like was kind of keeping her group together. Becky was always just like a beta of the Yule. And Lisa Stanger's definitely better than Lisa Welchel. Bobby John feels too high here, right? I think is also a thing. Like, should he be here? I think he did survive to the end of his tribe, though. I think I'll put Hannah here. I think her with Ryan Ulrich is still probably fine. Then Laurel, I think, is a bit of a debate. I actually think Laurel, you could argue, is also here. I also can kind of see some like Albert comparisons to a degree. Yeah, Candace, Terry Dietz, and Bobby John. Yeah. Edgic Poll rates the edit at 1.35 out of 5. That's fair. I think the makeup of 54 will be, I think majority new era, yeah. I think I would say probably like 65% new era. Yeah, I think Laurel is someone that like She could be here. She could be here. Like, ultimately, she obviously was too passive at the end. Which I guess is, like, maybe something you can give, like, Hannah a bit more credit for. Like, Hannah was at least, like, actively playing towards the end. But then again, Laurel had more win equity. Like, it feels like Laurel, like, theoretically could have won if she wasn't at the end against Dom and Wendell. The problem is that she never really took a shot against Dom and Wendell. I do think her, like, above Lisa Welchel is fine. Is she really, like, worse than these players, though? Let's see. Lisa at least wanted Denise and Malcolm out. Yeah, that's fair. But also, like, Laurel's more consistent of a player than Lisa, though. Like, Lisa's someone that, like, was, like, almost the first boot of that season. Laurel's someone that, like, never was going to be the first boot of that season. And, like, is always going to make it, like, deep more times than not. I don't know. Yeah, like, part of me wants to put her here, but I don't know if that actually even makes, like... Okay, cool. Like, I don't know if there's actual, like, reasoning behind that. But, like, I think, like, her versus Troyzan, it's like, I don't think it's that big of a difference there. I think it should be that big, her versus Lisa. Like, I just think Lisa's just an early boot more time she plays. Like, I don't think Laurel's that bad of a player. Like, realistic. Like, I feel like Laurel is, like, here. Like, she's probably, like, in the middle of these tiers, I feel like. There's, like, do I really create a new tier for her? Or do I just, like, put her, like, here, maybe? I don't know. No, I think I'll leave her there. Zeke. Zeke probably should be here, I think. Like, with, like, Candace. Probably. I think is where Zeke's probably ultimately going to land. Obviously very messy player. But, like, I don't know. He was, like, the leader of his alliance in Militia X by the end, at least. That's something. Got people to go to rocks for him. It's pretty insane. Yeah. It's almost as if the first vote is not the only thing that matters. Yeah, I think I'll put him there. Lauren Rimmer. I think Lauren Rimmer here is fine. Yeah, I think her being here is fine with this sort of grouping. Sunday. Sunday is interesting. I think we need to move this down a little bit. Like, archetype wise, Sunday is here, right? It's like with, like, a lot of the older women. I think my gut's putting her here, though. Because, like, obviously she doesn't make it towards the end. Like, all these people made it to the end at least. Or at least were intended to make it to the end. Sunday gets booed at 7. Sunday's not even in the majority for a lot of the game. It's like, kind of has a turbulent game. I think her being in this grouping kind of makes sense to me. Like, I do think she's a pretty, like, fluid player. And, like, for her archetype, I think she's playing, like, a fairly aggressive game. But it's still, like, a fairly unstable one. Chelsea Townsend. ultimately probably here as well. I think you could argue her actually being like closer to up here. But I think I will settle on here. I think you could argue higher though. I think with Chelsea, didn't they have much win equity? Not a lot, but like I think she could have won if like she was at the end against what, like Brett and like Ken or something, or like I think anyone beats Ken and Hannah likely. Um, it's like there's spots where she definitely can get votes, but she's definitely not like the biggest jury. Like definitely like David, Adam, Jay were the bigger jury threats. Um, um, yeah, I can kind of see that too. Like her being with like the kind of robbed players to a degree. I think I want to put her here. Um, with like Brett Closer, kind of. Where it's like you can argue she was screwed because she never really had the opportunity to take a shot at Dom and Wendell when she wanted to. Um, but she ultimately does fail. Still, it's still a spot where like she had the opportunity at 8, and then just actually just failed to get Laurel. Which I guess to be fair, like is that different from Tawana? Which I think maybe that's like Tawana should be lower. Fuck it, I'll put her here. Why not? I think she's around. She's gonna be around where Tawana is by the end. Kellen Bechtold. Gut-wise, it's kind of funny to say about Kellen. Gut-wise, I feel like she's here. I feel like she's with like Sunday, Caleb, Heidi, Leanne. Like she's like was in a like dominant alliance for a lot of the game. Ultimately, like gets outplayed by Dom and Wendell by the end. Yeah, I think she kind of has to be below like an Aaron Lobdale. But then again, should the gap really be that big between her and Chelsea though? Because like they both had the same idea. I guess like to be fair, like she had more of an opportunity to take a shot at Dom Wendell because she was on the split tribe with them. And like Chelsea wasn't. But like it still feels like a pretty big gap for like that minute of difference. I think I'm gonna do this actually. I think I'm gonna settle on this. I think I do move Chelsea down and I put Kellen there with her. And maybe I do move Tawana down too. And no, I think I'll leave Tawana there. Actually, no. Yeah, actually, no. I think I moved Chelsea back up. But I do think I put Kellen like here. I think like right below Chelsea. I think her above Holly Hoffman feels weird though. Dude, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing anymore. Yeah, whatever. This is fine. Ashley Nolan, she's here. That's fine. We can move on. Julia Sokolowski. But yeah, I think Ashley Nolan probably here is fine. You could argue she was screwed by like Ben's whatever, but like I think she's still like by the time she was booted, like she was looked at as a big threat. She was never really gonna make it to the end. I think her being there is fine. Like I think you could maybe argue she should be like here. Like the fact that Devin ends up voting her out, I think is pretty bad. Yeah, I think I'll put her here. Like, at worst, I think she's towards the top of this grouping. So I think it's like, whatever. We'll just put her there. Julia Sokolowski. Okay, cool. That did not work at all. Okay, yep. That's definitely what I wanted to do. Okay, yep. Dude, this is fucking say. There we go. Julia Sokolowski. My gut is like here. Maybe even like here. She is fairly sloppy. Like by the end, or like not even by the end, like by like final 9 or whatever, like she was just like so openly playing the middle to the point where like her own group didn't trust her anymore, was willing to vote her out. Like she's playing like fine at the beginning, right? But like, I think her like Julie Berry is like kind of fine. I think that's like a decent enough comparison. Ken McNichol, I think, is probably in like this sort of grouping down here, which I guess with that, we might as well just move everyone down here. Austin Cardi. But like Austin Cardi had like a clear cut winning scenario though. Like Austin Cardi, someone that like if he came into the merge with numbers, he's probably the most likely winner of his side. Like Julia, it's like even if she came into merge, I mean, too far, she kind of like she came into merge in a good position and then still lost it. It's like with Austin Cardi, and like too fair, that's probably more indicative of the time than anything. But like so, Austin Cardi, it's like I think he had more winner potential than Julia did. Just more active, maybe. Actually, you know what? Actually, should this be its own tier? Actually, you know what? Let's make this its own. I don't know. Actually, I think she's with Kenny. Actually, I think she's like Kenny and Reed level. Like a kind of active but very sloppy player there. I'm debating what I do with Alex and Dina. Reed simp, sure. Let's see. I kind of feel like these three feel together, and it's just a matter of like, do I move anyone else down from this group? I think all these other players are players that played like semi-dominant games, so maybe they do just stay together. Maybe like if anything, maybe Dina is here, but I think maybe she's like kind of like in between. Don't know what Julia. You don't know Julia Sokolowski? The one that was almost on Survivor 50, the one that almost took Elizabeth's spot on Survivor 50. Yeah, Ken McNichol. I think at best Ken is here. And genuinely, I might actually put Ken there. I think the fact that Ken was willing to cut David is something that makes me want to put him here. Otherwise, I think he's probably like he kind of fits with the like this grouping with like the runner-ups that had no chance. But I think the fact that he's willing to cut David kind of makes me want to put him here. So at least there's like more of a killer instinct there. Joe Del Campo. He probably is here. Obviously, he was meant to get to the end. He didn't have the greatest win equity. Actually, I don't know. Here or here? Maybe here. Maybe I think like Trish should be above Joe Del Campo. Yeah, I don't think he's active enough to be up here. So I think he probably just is with like these players here. How to rank the Nolans? Dude, I just realized all of them had OnlyFans. all of the Nolan, the Nolan triplets, they all had OnlyFans accounts. Um, well, Ashley, Liz, Julia, I guess. Um, Brett LaBelle. Like Jeff Kent should go up here. Where's Jeff Kent? Here. I think I did initially, and I realized I think he should be with Lauren Moret. I think it's the thing I settled on. Um, yeah, Ashley Nolan had OnlyFans. I think she's like one of the only like Survivor women that have OnlyFans, right? I think it's her and Victoria. Is there anyone else? Um, anyway, Brett LaBelle. Um, Brett's not particularly good, but he still makes it pretty deep. Like he's at least trying to play optimally. Um, I think he's probably like in this ballpark, like with like a Debbie. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Or maybe he's like Chad level actually. Um, he doesn't make it further in Chad, obviously. But I kind of feel like that's like an okay comparison too. Yeah, it's like actually Brett should like. He's like, is Brett really that much better than like a Krista Hasty? No, I think I'm gonna settle with him with Debbie. I think that's fine actually, because I think like Debbie, he was like willing to make like he was willing to cut people, like Angelina. He played fairly optimally. He knew what he was meant to be doing. Um, like with Chad, it's like I don't really have faith in Chad to be like have much of a killer instinct in the game. Um, so yeah, Sebastian. Uh, what did I do, Sebastian? Should we move this down? Maybe we'll move this down a little bit. I think we're probably in this kind of ballpark now. Sebastian. Like he rode the majority, wasn't really in danger for a lot of the game, was way too passive. At least tried to make a move against Dom and Wendell towards the end. Here, maybe? With Frosty? Where's Frosty? Down here? For him and Benry is like kind of fine. And too far, he was safer than Benry though. I kind of feel Stacy Kimmel comparisons. Um, where wanted to make a move on their boot round, were like loosely in the majority group. For Sebastian, probably had more win equity theoretically, but no. Michaela. Michaela. I think the intention was to put Michaela here. I don't know what to really do with her. Neither of her games are particularly great. She was kind of right in the middle, like fine initially on Millennials. Then like even like her downfall's not even like I don't even think it really makes much sense. Um, second time. It's like she's like in a bit of a rough spot just because like no one knows who she is, but yeah, there's not really much to. It's like I can kind of see her in this. Like I think like her and Krista Hasty. Like I think like generally her Game Changers game is probably on the same or like on a similar level to some of these. Probably more turbulent, to be fair. I think I'll leave her here. I think I don't feel that bad about that. Jessica Lewis. Why did I have Jessica Lewis so low? I guess she like too fair. I guess her early game's pretty like bad. Actually, let me see something real quick too. Actually, should she be like? Is she really like worse than Abby Maria? Like Michaela? And he's like, I don't think like I think she's probably better than Abby Maria in the grand scheme of things. Like Abby Maria has a better track record, but like I don't think there should be that big of a gap, right? So maybe I do move her up here. Or maybe even like here with like Trish, maybe? Alicia Rosa. I think I think I will move her up a bit. Yeah, Jessica Lewis. Again, like, is this too low? Is this? I mean, like, or like, I guess like, yeah, around here is where she was meant to be. I think that's where I intended her to be. Um, she get rocked out. If she didn't get rocked out, she probably would have been in an okay spot to make it to the end at least. Part of me does want to just put her up here. Like she does have a very sloppy like start to her game, but she's at least a fairly active player. Um, I think she's above Dara, right? I think that's fine. Yeah, I think I'll move her up. Kyle Jason. Kyle Jason, gut wise, I think was here. Might generally like he might also be up here. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing with these players. Like I feel like this list seems just kind of fucked. Yeah, win equity is a big issue for him. Did kind of dominate the early game though. Um, does lose control fairly early on. I think I will put him. Yeah, I think LJ is kind of fine. I think the difference here is that these people like more naturally made it deeper into the game, or at least had paths deeper into the game. Where like Kyle Jason, it's like he technically got into the merge of numbers and then just lost it. Which I guess you could say that Pete too, though. But I don't know, whatever. I feel like Kyle Jason being like, yeah, like LJ level, I think that feels okay. I think Alex is more respected though than Kyle or than Jason. Um, but for there being that big of a gap does feel weird though, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I do put him here. I'm trying to think of like how does he survive for a while? It's like he's still on the bottom for a lot of it. It's really like the fear of his idol that keeps him around for so long. But then he does survive over Julia in particular. Yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. I think I'll put him there. Alex did have no win equity. Scott Pollard. I think Scott Pollard, like, I think the biggest Scott Pollard is like, should Kyle, Jason, Scott Pollard be that far apart? But he's like, I don't know why, but like, just gut wise, it feels better to put Scott Pollard here. Like, I think Scott Pollard is like more like openly antagonistic. I think he also, and like Tavares, this is probably just more like, like he had less win equity, but like, that's probably just more like outside the game. Situations. I mean, Scott's definitely lower than Jason. It's just a matter by how much. Like, should it be this big of a gap? I think Kyle Jason had more control over the OG tribe than Scott did. Like, Scott lost like the battle between keeping Sydney and keeping Jeffrey Lanzetti. So yeah, I think I'll keep him there. I think that's fine. Chris Hammonds. Chris is probably also just here, right? I think he's like LJ level. Like I think like being in this tier is kind of fine. You could even maybe even argue here, considering like even like the beginning of his game's like kind of sloppy, where like he loses like Paul Wachter. So yeah, I think I'll keep him there. Donathan. Okay, let's do this. Donathan. What do I do with Donathan? Part of me just wants to put him here. Like, yeah, it's not really like that much. Like, he tried to play optimally by the end, but just had no social capital to do so. Like, got into the Alliance of Wendell for what that's worth. Oh, you actually listened to the Scott Pollard interview? I just looked it up just to see if like he mentioned being called for 50. So like obviously he wasn't, but like still, I just want to see if he like outwardly denied it or not, which he didn't seem to. So whatever. I think Devins was an alternate for 50. I just think they had other bigger locks. Yeah, and I just think they wanted Christian more, and they wanted like Mike White more, and whatever. Donathan above Seabass, at least he was aware and failed to make the move rather than running out of space. I feel like that's like I feel like they're in a similar spot. Like it's like I like Sebastian also tried to make the move. I think Donathan had like faced up against more adversity and overcame that. I think it's probably the thing to credit him. But I also feel like Sebastian's just someone that's like more naturally gonna make it deeper. But I think them being back to back is fine on this. Dr. Mike. My gut says here, but probably should be higher. I don't know. Maybe even like here. I don't know. Like Dr. Mike, I don't think is actually that good, but like he does make it fairly deep. In a spot where like you can argue he had a winning scenario. But yeah, I think it's like he's probably like worse than Rick. Maybe he's like a Butch level player though. I'm Christian Ryan. I think like him versus Christian Ryan. It's like I think it's close. Um, Even with Devin there, it's like probably still close. Yeah, I think that's fine for now. Michael Yerger. Michael Yerger might be higher actually. I think I might put him here. I think him with like the Benry like kind of players feels fine. Um, Actually, you know what? Actually, I think there's an argument he's here with like Mookie. I think that's actually a decent comparison. Of like someone that faced off against a lot of adversity. Uh, like ultimately, like I generally like Mookie's probably worse actually. Uh, but yeah, I think I'll keep him here for now. Will Wall. Uh, I think I put Will Wall here. Yeah, I think he's here. I think he's kind of with the like Nate Gonzalez, maybe Benry. Like he's a very fluid player, but like was just kind of in and out of the majority a lot. Um, Matt Bischoff being so high. Matt Bischoff was like running his OG tribe, and it just gets kind of swap screwed. And it's like he was on a fans' favorite season where like didn't have much like runway. Let me see something actually. I kind of want to actually put him higher. I don't know. Maybe I just put him here. Like, thing is, like, yeah, he is a fairly fluid player. Like, he's a very self-interested player. I kind of want to put him like Jim Rice level 2, but no, Jim Rice had more of a more of like an actual group. Like Will Wall like struggles to actually have like a real alliance. Um, Maybe here. Maybe kind of towards the bottom of this grouping. Yeah, I think above Stacy feels fine. Below like some of these other ones that are like kind of semi-dominant players. Um, yeah. Jessica Johnson. Uh, I think got worse here. But I don't know. I had her below. What I intend on doing with Jessica Johnson? Let me see something. Who's lower than this? Yeah, but he's like, this is too low, right? For Jessica Johnson. It's like I think at worst she's here. I think she's probably above that grouping. Um, like she was the merge boot, but she was playing pretty well before that. Like she was pretty much the center of everything on her original tribe. I kind of feel like she also should be like around here. Uh, yeah, I kind of feel like she should be at least like Chris Hammond's level, maybe. Like I think it's like the fact that she never like she's never like really tested is like something to criticize, but I don't know. I kind of do feel like she like she was kind of at the top of her pecking order, which is like that's like kind of the difference between her and like some of these players here for me is that like I was thinking like she would be here, but then like realistically, like Jessica was like really running things. Um, so like I feel like she's like Laura Moret, Jeff Kent kind of level. Um, I think I'll put her below Chris Hammonds, but I think above Will Wall. I think is what my gut's telling me. Debbie Wanner is Debbie here because I think that's what my gut was, but also is she really worse than Russell Swan? Probably not. Realistically, like she's not one of these people that like you would think would be an early boot, but she never actually was. Like she's a pretty bad player. Like both times found herself in like a semblance of a majority group. Um, she was so bad that she got kicked out like fairly early both times though. After merge. Um. Hmm. Um, hmm. I was like, I could see her being here. I could see her being here. I could also like, is she that much worse than Laura Moret? Um, in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, and also there's like even in her like Ko Wrong boot, like there was the double idol of it all. So they went with her as a safe vote. I I think maybe Nyanka level is kind of where my gut's telling me right now. I think it's like around here. Um, yeah, Julie was initial target too. Like I think the issue fundamentally is that I just don't think Debbie's actually a good player. Like I think she's like I think she's gonna self sabotage more times than not. I think having her above Michael Yerger feels weird though. Maybe like here, like her and Jamie Newton, like that kind of feels fine. Like the fact that she never made it to like a final, like she never made it past what final 9. I think is also another thing to call out. Um, her above Rudy also feels weird, though genuinely. I think Michael had more of the right idea of what he should be doing though than Debbie. Um, you know, no, I think I'm gonna move Debbie down here. I think she's kind of in between these tiers to me. So maybe I like put her at like the top ish of this tier. Yeah. Jenna Bauman, everyone's favorite Jenna. Um, probably here. Um, like not an awful player, but just one that just kind of exists. Like I think she's probably like Penny Ramsey level. Again, Jenna from Survivor Ghost Island, the one that dated Seabass, the one that survived a little bit. Jenna Bowman is back. Um, yeah, I think her being here is fine. Like not a horrible player, but just like she survived these amount of tribals, but just had no real runway. Yeah, I think her for like Penny Ramsey, Julie Wolfe, I think that's kind of fine. Uh, Desi, dang it. Actually, to be fair, no, I think I will put. I was gonna say, should she be Jeremiah level? I think Jeremiah at least had more of a path. Where like Jenna was pretty much drawing dead, at that point in the game. Um, should Boo be lower actually in retrospect? I don't know. Whatever. Desi, purple Desi. Um, I think Desi's also in this tier. I don't think Desi. Generally, you could actually maybe even argue this. Like Desi's just there. I think ultimately, yeah, she probably is just like Jenna, like Penny Ramsey level. Like she just exists. Kenward, yeah. Yeah, I think Boo probably is more similar to like the Russ Swan, like Ted Rogers, realistically. Um, or he's always kind of on the bottom of his own group. Never's really able to get out of that. Even the opposition was targeting him at a point, so like that's not particularly good. I think it's probably just more upside for these sort of players, even though like these are also kind of weird. How's Desi on a starting tribe? She was at the bottom. I don't know if they had like that defined of a power structure outside Dr. Mike was first to go. Um like Mike was first to go, and then like Jessica had like a relationship with pretty much everybody. Um and like obviously Jessica and Cole were together, and then like I know she had like a final two with Joe, and she was close to the women. But I don't know like what Desi was doing on her own there. Um I think like, just her here, just kind of like, yeah, just kind of a whole bunch of other like kind of mid players. I think it's fine. Libby, um, Libby, hmm, dude, it's already almost 2 a.m. Above Jenna? No, I don't think above Jenna. I think maybe also just here though. I think like similar tier. Uh, then what? Desiree. I think my gut for Desiree is closer to this level. Of like a Fincher kind of level. How Pirate Yakuza goes tonight, I don't see if we even get to it at all. Um, yeah, she got it out, but it's not even like it's that good. Like it's like with Jenna, you can argue she was screwed by the split tribal of it all. Actually, didn't Jenna also get idled out? Or no? I know Donovan played his idol. Um, Either way, I don't think it's like it's not like Libby had much runway either way. Um, um well, I had a weird steal vote from Donathan. I generally don't remember that. On that vote, like like I know Sebastian eventually got one, but then like didn't Kellen had one during that round, right? Oh yeah, they did vote for Don. Yeah, and then Jenna voted for Donathan. Um, Either way, it's like whatever. I think it's still fine. Um, Neil Gottlieb. I think Neil's more definitively here. Actually, I didn't really fully talk through Desiree. I think this is fine for Desiree. Like initially was in, like at least had like some allies early on. Tries to make a move against Dom and Wendell, fails, and yeah, whatever. Then yeah, Neil's in there too. I think that's fine. Brendan Shapiro, I think, is kind of interesting. I actually think you could argue he's like up with these sort of people. Because like I don't think he does that much wrong. I mean, ultimately he probably is just like here for like Jackie. He was probably more in a dominant position though, right? In his starting tribe. Or like Jackie and Jill were like well positioned on their initial tribe, but they weren't like the head honcho like Brendan was. So like maybe Brendan should be higher because of that. I don't know how much higher he should be though. Like, should he just be his own separate tier, or could he just be in this tier? Like, could he just be with these sort of people? Actually, you know what? I think he will just be a new tier with Morgan Ricky. Actually, he's Morgan and like Anna Kate is also there. I think this is probably its own separate sub tier here. The question is, how high do I want them to be? I kind of feel like they are better. Like, they're better than these two for sure. I kind of feel like they're better than this grouping. And I think this is the grouping that I'm like, I don't know. Maybe not. Is Kenward really better than Morgan Ricky? I mean, I think with Morgan Ricky, we just don't see enough of her. Better than Haley Ford. Debatable. I think I'm gonna sell on this. I think I'm gonna. I think Monica Badia is more of the argument than Haley Ford. I think Haley Ford probably is just better. Michelle Schubert. Is Michelle too low here? I feel like Michelle should be higher than this. Because like I don't think Michelle does that much wrong. Like she's like running her OG tribe, gets swap screwed, survives the swap screw. And then is taken out the merge, but like didn't really do much wrong. I don't know, maybe she should be like around here. Because I think she was playing pretty well from the beginning, at least. Like, I think she's probably like Dave Johnson level. Basically, James Lim. Is she? Is that even a comparison? I think her like Jeremiah kind of makes sense to me too. Oh. Jay Starrett. Jay probably should be like down here, right? With like Reynolds. Like maybe I guess like slightly better. But like I think like Jay's probably in this like Reynolds sort of tier. He had win equity. Yeah, I guess. But I don't know how much higher I want to put him though. Like he was just kind of on the bottom for a lot of the game. I guess like too very he was like okay position at the beginning. I guess that was the thing too of Michelle is that like it feels weird to have him like that far apart. Yeah, I guess he did make it way further than a lot of these people and had win equity. I guess like the only one here that's like in the end game is like Burton, and Burton didn't really have win equity unless against Lil, which he was even trying to do. Maybe I have Jay here. With like Ralph Kaiser. Brad Varita. Where's Brad Varita? Oh, he's here. Yeah, it's like he should be higher than Brad Varita, right? Um, let's see. Should he just be higher? Actually, I don't know. Should he just be like here? Like, is he? He's not worse than Fincher, right? Like, he's better than Fincher. Um, he probably is just here, right? Like, he's like, is he that far apart than like a Boo? Like, I think they're in a similar caliber, actually. So I think that's fine. Cole Metters. Cole Metters. Probably here. Oh, here or here. I think it's like one of these two. Um, Play very sloppily, piss people off. That was in a pretty good spot at the beginning, at least. Um, but yeah, I think I will go here. You see, at least wasn't like I think like him and Brendan feels fine. And really, it's like geez, 2 tiers too low. I mean, like I do think him with Michelle feels fine, right? Him with Benry. I don't know. It's like the problem with Jay is that he was just like on the outs for so long. Like the entire post merge phase, he was pretty much on the outs. But I guess to be fair, Benry was too. I'll put him here. I think that's fine. Um, do you mean the player ranking, like as in like the ranking is gonna be done? Or do you mean done for this stream? This stream couldn't tell you. Done like as in the ranking itself will be done. I don't know, like a month. On today's stream, like whenever I'm fucking done with this. Um, and we have what 29 more players to go. um, it's always the bottom though that's like the hardest to put together though. Joe Mena. Uh, wait, they even piece together like is that fine with Cole? I think it's probably fine. Is Desi? I don't know. Desi just feels Desiree. To clarify, just feels like kind of a random player here actually. Like part of me actually wants to put her here. He's like, is she really that good? It's like she really like she wasn't like even on the original. I guess she was in the majority for post swap, and they did. She'd survive a few votes there. I think that kind of feels like she should be here though. Maybe she's in that tier. But like, is she really better than Kat Ederson though? And like the okay, well, I'll just keep her there. But yeah, Joe Mena. Um, I can kind of see Joe being here. I can also see him being here. Um, Come on, go here. I actually feel okay. I'm starting to feel like maybe this is a tier that should be higher. Do I think Anna Kate is better than Neil Gottlieb? uh, Joe did read Baby Girl's face. That is the thing he did. Um, My guy is telling me to switch these. Then I mean, Joe did need an idol even. I think Joe being here is fine actually. Caleb, like beast mode cowboy Caleb. He's probably somewhere in this range. Actually, looking at it, are some of these people too high? Let me see again. Oh, we kept in the douchey guy. Yeah, I think Caleb's probably like somewhere in this range. Actually, generally, like Caleb might actually be here. He's like, he essentially was kind of screwed twice, right? It's like, so I guess he's probably like one of the better screwed. Actually, I mean, by that metric, is he even here? Is he like with the Amy O'Hara, Dan Barry level? Like I don't think he's I don't think he's a particularly good player, but like he did get medevac in a spot where like he was in a good spot when he got medevac, and then the second time around he gets like really swap screwed. And yeah, he got into the threats line somehow. So yeah, generally there's probably an argument he's even like here with like Brendan Shapiro. And by that I mean I think I'm probably actually gonna put him there. Yeah, I think I think I'll leave it there. James Lim. Uh James Lim's interesting because like I don't think James Lim is actually that good of a player, but he did pull off a pretty good move in taking out Morgan. Outside of that, he's not particularly good. Like he's like kind of on the bottom of his original tribe. He I guess does get swap screwed by the time he goes, but it's like he's not a particularly great player, but yeah, that's the thing. Ralph, he's probably better than Ralph Kaiser. He probably is like somewhere. He's probably with this grouping actually. Um, yeah, I think he's just a tag along there. I think he's probably just right below Caleb in that group. Because I think he at least does like because I think the difference between him and like Jill and Jackie, I think both of them were like very passive players. Like he at least got something done. Like that's something. Allie Elliott, I think I'll probably put her here with Jackie and Jill. Maybe even lower actually. By the end, she kind of yeah, she's like maybe here for like Eve and Tyrone. But I do think by the end she like obviously was not playing particularly great, and like how she reacted to the Rourke blindside and everything. Actually, then again, like, is she really that much better than like this? Like, she's not that much better than like a Julia Landauer, right? I mean, she's not. I mean, I don't even know if she is better than Julia Landauer. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Actually, the more and more I'm looking at it, like, is she better than Alexis Maxwell? She's probably like down here. Um, yeah. Okay. I think that maybe I should be reworking it. Like, is Joe Mena too high? Like, is Joe Mena here? He did need an idol fairly early on. I think him and Kobe might be like somewhat comparable. Cole Metters and Neil. I think those are probably still fine. Like Cole Metters, I think you can like potentially put him here. Desiree is just like, I don't know what to do with her. I think the rest are kind of fine. Neil too low. I don't think Neil's that good. Like Neil, like I think Neil's on this level. Like he was on the bottom at the time of the merge. Um, like he was at least the like intended target during the merge round. Like obviously, I don't think they would have. It didn't seem like they were actually going to vote for him because of his idol and everything, but like they wanted him out. Did he recover after being swap screwed? Like he wasn't really swap screwed much at all. I feel fine about Neil being there. Rourke. There's an argument Rourke should be higher actually than like Allie. I think Rourke being this level feels fine. Actually, really, Rourke? I can argue here. Like, Rourke was in a pretty good spot in her original tribe. Like, yeah, it seemed like Jessica was, like, really running things, but, like, Rourke was, like, pretty well positioned, not really in any danger anytime soon. Gets swapped into a fairly unfortunate position. Like, should have been the swing, and I guess you could falter for that, but, like, the Ryan Chrissy connection is very unfortunate. I think the thing is, like, I just don't think Rourke did that much wrong. I guess like putting her above Joe Mena does feel weird though. To where like I don't know, maybe I do just land here again, like maybe like Julia Landauer level. But yeah, I don't think she really does much wrong realistically. Dude, I'm so tired at this point. Bradley. Bradley is a bit tough. Should we just do the bottom? I think we should just move to the bottom. Like I would hope that's easier to put together. Wait, let's see. Actually, where the fuck does Jacob Derwin go? Because I legitimately don't know. Yeah, it might be a decent comparison actually. But anyway, Jacob Derwin. You could definitely argue worst the worst. At least has like a competent strategic mind, but was pretty unaware. Is he really that different from like? I think he's like a Billy Garcia sort of level. So yeah, I think I put him there. Simone. Francesca. She's like, where is she? Here? Kind of high. Yeah, Simone. Simone is probably also in this tier. Like, she was pretty expendable. I don't think she did that much, like, actively wrong, but she didn't really have any allies and not really much potential. Below Jacob. Maybe. Yeah, whatever, I'll do that. That's fine. Rachel Aiko. On paper, I think Rachel Aiko is probably a worse player than them, but like she at least had an ally. So that's something. She probably is just here with like Christine, Stacey Powell, those sort of players. Patrick Bolton. He survived a vote. Outside that, he's pretty bad. The fact that he had a friend from college that turned on him, that's also pretty bad. I being between these two tiers. Did anyone here survive a tribal? I don't think anyone did. Oh no, Joanna did. Or Joanna. Is she the only one? I think so. Oh, and Stacy Powell. Yeah, I think I'll put him here. He's not a particularly good player. Um, yeah, I think that's fine. Katrina Radke. Katrina, I think on paper feels here. Yeah, like kind of like some of the older players that didn't do like that much actively wrong, but were still early boots. Like, I just don't think she does that much bad. Wise Race was that bad? I mean, she just annoyed people. Didn't really build connections. Just was on the bottom. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, there's not like she was always just the first boot, so it's like there's not really that much to say about her. Sonya's a good comparison. Yeah, that's fair. Liz Markham. Guys, probably here. Could potentially be higher. Lee seemed okay position at the beginning, but then like obviously she gets flipped on. I think just like her and Peter just like came off too like domineering. Where's So Kim in this actually? So Kim's here. He's like, is there really that much of a difference between Liz and So Kim? I think like So Kim probably does more like at least we see her do more actively wrong. I don't think there's that much of a difference though, realistically. So maybe Liz should be around here. Cece. Cece kind of sucks, but she does survive like a decent amount of tribals. So that's something. She survives over Rachel, survives over Paul Wachter, survives over Lucy. Yeah. So like she's survived a while. She's not particularly good though. But how much credit do I want to give her for surviving? Maybe like around here. I think maybe like Flicka kind of level. Kind of makes sense. Alicia Holden. I think Alicia Holden's kind of in the same ballpark. Survives a decent amount of tribals. Isn't a particularly good player though, so whatever. Chris Noble. Probably here. Like Ben Browning. I think it's actually different because like he didn't even like control the vote. Like at least like Ben Browning like controlled the vote. JP controlled the vote. Like Chris Noble didn't. But also to be fair, Chris Noble at least had like half the tribe on his side initially. Jean Robert. Where the fuck is Jean Robert? Jean Robert I had like way higher, didn't I? Yeah, like up here. Jean Robert at least survived tribals though. Like, okay, cool, didn't mean to hit the mic. But like Chris Noble, like never like he went home at his first tribal, had an idol to save himself, didn't play it. Also would have gone home in episode 3 had he not went to exile. I think Chris Noble's worse than Jean Robert. I think I'll put him here. No, I think I'll move him down. Actually, I think I'll move him down here. You know, actually, maybe I'll even put him here. Like with Dolly. I don't think that's the. I don't know. Him versus Cowboy. I think he should be above Cowboy though. But then Cowboy at least survived some tribals though. Yeah, I think I'm putting him here. I don't feel that bad about that. Like generally, like he's probably more active. Like generally, like, in terms of like how actively bad he is, he's probably closer to like this ballpark. I guess like too for there's an argument he's here though. Like John Rocker's there, but again, John Rocker survived a couple tribals. Um, yeah, so fuck it, I'll put him there. Yeah, Cowboy might be too high. That's probably, yeah. Maybe he should be like around here, but no, we'll deal with that later. Paul Wachter. Paul Wachter, I think, is just here. I think he's like Ben Browning, JP, like control the vote. Like, was in a good spot at a point. Not a particularly good player though. Peter Bagenstos. Is Peter too high? I don't think Peter's particularly good. Like Peter's blindside his first vote. If it wasn't for physical strength, he probably just goes there. Then he does survive the Anna vote, but that was kind of give me. And then he's booed right after that. He's pretty bad actually. Like generally, he is pretty bad. He might be here. Like, is he like Dave Cruiser level maybe? Um, or is he just also like down with like Chris Noble? Like I think Chris Noble makes more of a blunder, but actually I think he's probably Cliff Robinson level. I think he did survive a vote at least. Yeah, I'll put him here. I'll put him at like the bottom. I think I'll put Paul Wachter higher for that's worth. Um, Darnell Hamilton. I think I'll put him with Bryce. Just like here. I think Darnell Hamilton's like a player that had potential. Didn't really get to show any of it. I think he got like a very bad starting try for him. Which I think is like kind of the Bryce comparison. I feel fine putting him there. Mari Takahashi might also be in a similar spot. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Mari Takahashi. She had allies. Yeah, I really feel like she can fit anywhere in this like kind of range here. Morgan. Like I guess, yeah. Yeah, I mean like they had an alliance at a point, it flipped on them. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think I'll put her here. Stephanie Gonzalez. I think is Christina Kell just too high? In retrospect, like is Francesca also do like should Francesca be that much higher than like a Mari Takahashi? Hmm. She did find out 5 minutes into the game. That is true. Whatever. I'll keep. We'll deal with this later. It's already late. I just want to get this done with at this point. Uh, Stephanie Gonzalez. Stephanie Gonzalez is probably also here. Does get kind of like obviously gets kind of twist screwed. I don't think she's good enough to put her here though. So she still voted out unanimously. It's not like she had like, and she didn't really have any like real ally. Um, it's like I think she's probably like a Liliana level sort of player. Like maybe like an Allie. I mean, I guess that's pretty different. But I don't know. She's not particularly good, but she at least has like an excuse. Figgy. Um, Figgy might be here with like Vince Sly. Not a particularly good player, but like did like get out of a pretty tricky first vote at least. But then again, literally had. Actually, now I think about it more. I don't know. Maybe she is down here. Literally, her own allies were telling Adam to like throw the challenge to vote her out. Like that's pretty bad. Yeah, it's not like she was like particularly good in that group either. Like, it's not like Figgy was like the one that saved herself either. It's like people were like around her were saving her. So yeah, I think I'll put her there. Jeffrey Lenzetti. Um, I think here. I think Jeffrey Lenzetti. I think like started off the game pretty well. Like was with like Cal Jason and Scott. They did flip on the second vote. Um, but like I don't think she had like the wrong idea. Uh, yeah, I'll keep her here. I think you could actually argue she's like here, but I'll keep her here for now. Angela. I think I'll put Angela where like Laura Bonham is. Skinham Bonham. Um, a pretty bad player. Almost was like the third boot of the season. Um, does make it deep by the end, but like still just not a particularly good player. Um, is she worse than this grouping though? I think it's like kind of a thing. Like, is she really that much worse than like a Morgan McLeod? I don't know. Skin and Bonum. It's in the remove video part 6. No, part 5. Yeah, part 5. It's the so like what Jenna Lewis says like when they're eating the rat in Borneo, she says we're gonna skin him, bone him, and then after she says bone him, I cut to Rupert yelling. uh, don't like season 50. I don't hate this season as a whole, but I think this ending's really bad. Yeah, where am I at? Taylor. What the fuck? Taylor. Taylor. Should I put Angela here, actually? Or should I just say fucking put her here with all the other bad pre or post mergers? I do think there's like a decent amount of comparisons between her and like Laura, but she does make it so far though that I think I will put her here. I do think there is like a decent comparison between her and Janu. Thought 50 was fun till this episode. I think it's had ups and downs. It hasn't had like a really, really like awful episode until now though. Now it's just like kind of depressing. The end game stretch we're in. Um, Taylor. Taylor, I think feels kind of around here. Like by the end, people hated him. I think he's probably like Joel Klug Hunter level. I think that's fine. JP. JP is. Is JP like here? Maybe even higher. I don't know. I guess we'll need to actually think about this. Yeah, they are really zooming through the end game, but that's kind of what you would have expected with this many people, obviously. Yeah, it's like I think ultimately the season's just very mid. Like I think I have it like in the 25 to 30 range, like when ranking all the seasons. Yeah, where am I at? JP. Yeah, where's Eric Cardona? Up here. Is that too high for JP? Like JP and Nick are probably together. That isn't a bad. Yeah, I think Eric Cardona is actually like a decent comparison for them. But do they really leapfrog all these other people? Hmm. JP and Morgan aren't that different. Hmm. I think they're slightly different, but like not by that. Like I think JP could fit like here, and that would be kind of fine. But yeah, these are all like pre-merge boots. Um, Maybe like here, like with like Aaron Collins. I don't know. That's not really a good comparison. Um, yeah, Nick's kind of sloppy. For like Nick, I could see like an argument for him being like down here. I love like Austin's just like dangling there. Um, is could JP be Austin level? Hmm. Oh, JP's just a weird one because like he's not like an active player, but like he does survive like a decent amount of tribals, right? Like he goes to like he survives that first vote, then survives 2 swap tribals at the merge. He survives a few votes. Like he survives a while. So yeah, I am gonna put him here with like a Alec West kind of grouping. Uh, yeah, Nick Myrano. I think Nick Myrano as a player has a lot of potential, but doesn't really get to show that. Um, hmm. How much credit do I want to give him for just like for theoretically having potential? I guess like is he that different from Eric Cardona though? Where's Jonas? Jonas is down here. Yeah, maybe he is with Jonas. Like merge boot. Jonas even like technically like yeah, like was in the majority more. Maybe Nick's like closer to here actually. With like a John Cody. Uh like Michaela Wingle ish. I think like Nick probably uh I think this ballpark is fine. I was debating if yeah, I think I'll keep him there. Alan Ball. Alan Ball's weird. Um was in a good spot initially. Does get idled out by the end. Not a particularly great player, but like generally like these people I think are probably somewhere in like this ballpark. Uh like Alan Ball's probably somewhere in like the Joel kind of category. Ace, where's Ace? Up here. Is he that good? I mean, like it's not like Ace is that good, but like I don't know. It's like I don't think Alan's actually that good of a player, but like his game though is pretty solid. Um, yeah, he did detect the idol in JP's pants. That is something he did. Um, I think he's probably here. Like I think he's like probably like a Rocky level player. Um so yeah, I'm thinking probably still in this grouping. Lucy, not really sure. Have a question. I would out mention that the Tika 3 has been slowly popular wise over the years. I don't care. I think Jam Jam probably. I think it's just like time plus also I think traders. Um, like was not a great appearance from Jam Jam, so I think people like lessened on him because of that too. But yeah, Lucy. I kind of get why I had her with Alan Ball. Um, like obviously idled out as well. Lucy probably is more at fault for her situation than Alan. I think they're probably in a similar ballpark. I'm debating on the order. Lucy had more allies by the time she left, but also I think probably mishandled the people on the outs more than Alan. I mean, like I did say Lucy better than Alan before, but hmm. Eh, I'll go Lucy here, I guess. Thought Chris led the majority. I mean, the like Lucy was part of the group that flipped on like Paul and Chris and them, um, and like flipped back to work with Chris after that. Stephanie Johnson, I think also probably just in this ballpark with like Rourke. Uh, Probably below. Like I think I just keep this consistent, and then Bradley, which I think is also probably in this tier as well. Uh, yeah, I think Bradley might be towards the top of this grouping, but I think he's like with the Rocky Silas, maybe Roar. I don't know. I guess like too fair, he did survive to the second swap, and he was in a good spot in his original swap or his original tribe as well. So I don't know, maybe that deserves like a miter boon there. Like maybe that's enough to put him here. I don't think Bradley's that good of a player though. Scroll up to what? Okay, cool. Didn't mean to do that. Like we do have this grouping, which like maybe they're too high at this point. Um, Bradley and Ace. Yeah, actually, I can kind of see that. I kind of see Bradley and Ace. Ace probably has a better like exit from the game. Brendan Sincott. Maybe. I think. Okay. I think I need to. I think these people should be lower. Or maybe not these people, but I think like. Is there that much of a gap between Eric Cardona and these players? Uh. He's like Brendan Sincott. Like starts off pretty well, and then kind of like by the end, it's just kind of an easy consensus boots. That's kind of the Eric Cardona of it all. I think yeah, maybe like Brendan is just maybe just Brendan himself is just too high. Maybe he should be like closer to here. Thing he did have the Exile Alliance, which I thought was like a good concept, but then he kind of like just completely fumbles the ball with it. But I think it shows like a level potential. The fact that he was like kind of trying to do it. Is Ralph too high? Where's Ralph on this? Here. Um. Hmm. I think there's a shot he's like down here. Like him and Artis. Uh, hmm. I think in this world, I would like move them. I think I'd move Cole up to this grouping. I think potentially move this grouping down to like here, potentially. Um, hmm. I give credit first to remove Rizzo. Um, Eve's better than Ralph. Like, I don't know if it's that definitive. It's like I guess, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I kind of feel like these two should be like maybe like here. But like, I guess Artis was like in like at least like Artis had like a solid grouping. Maybe like Ralph is like here. He's like Ralph and Joe Dowdle is probably a bit more comparable. Yeah, I kind of feel like that's actually probably a better comparison. Uh, So yeah, I think maybe. Well, okay, maybe not do it that way. Yeah, maybe do that. Probably move Cole back down here with Artis. Oh, I think this is fine for now. Again, we can work on this more next time. I'm fucking tired. I don't even know. Should I bother even playing the game or not?